L'Europe est une entité un petit peu.
Europe is an entity that is somewhat battered today. At present, Europe is facing an influx of immigration, which leads the eastern part of Europe to look with some resistance at what is happening in the western part. Europe needs to find partners today. We have seen that the American defense umbrella will no longer function as before. Europe needs to find new partners and unifying ideas so that the leading countries can speak with one voice on a number of issues. It is all of this that Europe lacks today, in this period of uncertainty. Europe needs partners more than ever. I believe China can be an excellent partner in all the areas you mentioned. Of course, this is something our governments must address with determination. But we can clearly see how complicated it is to manage climate issues and the major players involved. There was the recent COP in Brazil, and it was very difficult to come out with new ideas. We are struggling to make progress on the subject because there is resistance. There is what we would like to do, what we wish we could do, and what we ought to do. And then there are the economic constraints behind all this, which mean that we do not always make the right decisions, and often this is to the detriment of developing countries. They suffer more than developed countries from climate change, yet have less capacity to implement changes that would reduce greenhouse gases, take the right measures, and ensure that this planet can live a little longer, and that we can preserve it as best as possible. I believe that the most essential thing is education, and that everything must be built on education. It is the foundation of everything. At my own modest level, I have worked to ensure that in my city, in the department where I live, our policies are directed toward much closer ties with China. Starting from a young age, that is something very important. Twinning programs, bringing a bit of another country's culture to new generations of citizens, is essential. China, which is a very distant country for France, was a dream for me when I was a child. It was out of reach because it was so far away, and we thought we were so different. Today, I am committed to helping our children and young adults discover Chinese culture. I regularly organize trips to China for retired seniors so they can discover the country and bring Chinese culture back here. I think it is essential to start from the basics, beginning with schools. I discovered a Chinese educational system that is extremely effective, much more effective than what we have in France. It is very demanding, and it is no coincidence that when you look at the OECD's PISA rankings, Chinese schools are often at the top. People talk about the Shanghai math method, which is one of the best in the world. I think we need to return to the fundamentals, and the fundamental is education. If we learn to see a country differently, if we appreciate its culture and its people, then the economy, finance, and trade will naturally follow.